What happens when a live television moment spirals into something no one expected? In this video, we are going to dive deep into a dramatic, cinematic, emotionally intense recreation of a shocking on-air clash. The studio lights burned brighter than usual, throwing long streaks of gold across the polished desk as the audience settled into their seats. Cameras glided into position with their silent, mechanical grace, and the atmosphere carried that familiar tension. The kind that only live television can summon. The view was minutes from going live. The producers moved around like they were shifting puzzle pieces, aligning every detail for what was supposed to be a smooth, upbeat segment with Leonardo DiCaprio. But something in the air felt off. Backstage, Leo stood quietly, shoulders relaxed but eyes sharp. He had been on dozens of sets, hundreds of interviews, but today he sensed a strange mix of curiosity and volatility swirling just beyond the curtain. He adjusted the sleeve of his jacket, nodding politely as a production assistant reminded him of the segment order. He barely heard it. His focus was on the voices coming from the table. Heated, passionate, overlapping. Sunny Hostin was leading a discussion about celebrity activism, her tone firm, her arguments crisp and unyielding. The audience reacted with murmurs, claps, and the occasional gasp. Even off-stage, Leo could feel the friction building. 30 seconds, someone shouted. Leo breathed in slowly. No script, no retakes, no safety net. He stepped forward as the curtain parted. The music hit. The audience erupted. The host smiled, some genuine, some stretched thin. Leo took his seat at the center of the table, exchanging quick greetings with each of them. Sunny, however, maintained a measured expression, polite but holding something beneath the surface. The segment began with harmless pleasantries, his recent film, his environmental foundation, his career longevity. But as the minutes ticked by, Sunny leaned forward, her posture tightening with intention. "Leonardo," she said, voice steady yet edged, "you talk a lot about saving the planet, and that's admirable. But critics say your lifestyle contradicts your message. Private jets, lavish parties, long yacht trips. How do you reconcile that with what you preach?" The audience stiffened, a few whispers, a few raised eyebrows. Leo blinked once, slow and deliberate. Here it comes, he thought. He leaned toward his mic. "Sunny, I've heard those critiques before, and I understand them, but there's a difference between—" She cut in, sharper this time. "The difference is public responsibility. When someone with your influence speaks about climate issues, people expect consistency." The tension tightened like a violin string. Whoopi shifted in her chair. Joy exhaled loudly. Sarah glanced toward the producers as if silently asking, "Are we really doing this?" Leo's jaw tightened, but he forced a calm tone. "If you're asking whether I'm perfect, the answer is no. But if you're asking whether I'm committed," Sunny interrupted again, "I'm asking whether your message is authentic." A gasp shot through the audience. The studio fell into a heavy silence, the kind that makes even the cameras lean in. Leo didn't look away. "Are you questioning my integrity on live television?" Sunny didn't flinch. "I'm asking what the public deserves to know." Leo sat back, tension flickering in his eyes. "Then maybe the public deserves to know when a host is pushing a narrative instead of asking a question." The audience erupted. Some clapped, some shouted, some gasped. The producers waved frantically behind the cameras, trying to signal the host to steer the conversation back to safer ground, but it was too late. A spark had ignited something raw. Sunny straightened, holding her ground. "I'm doing my job, Leo. Asking tough questions is part of it. And answering them is part of mine," he replied, voice calm but carrying the unmistakable weight of someone prepared to stand his ground. A beat of silence, a shifting of chairs, a storm preparing to break, and the cameras kept rolling. Part 2. The commercial break sign flashed red, cutting through the tension like a warning siren. The cameras powered down, but the room stayed electrified. Audience whispers swelled. Crew members exchanged looks that said, "This is getting out of control." Sunny Hostin straightened her notes, but her hands weren't as steady as she wanted them to be. Leo remained still, jaw set, gaze locked forward. Joy muttered something under her breath. Whoopi removed her glasses and pressed her fingers to her forehead, as if warding off a headache. No one spoke. Not at first. Then Sarah broke the silence. Okay, so that escalated. Leo didn't turn his head. I didn't come here for a cross-examination. Sunny looked up sharply. I didn't cross-examine you. I asked a fair question. Whoopi leaned in. Sunny, it wasn't the question. It was the way you phrased it. Sunny shot her a tense glance. So I'm not allowed to challenge guests now? Leo finally faced her, his tone low. Challenge is one thing. Implying hypocrisy is another. You know what you were doing. Sunny's expression hardened, but something flickered beneath it. Uncertainty, maybe even regret. Leonardo, you're not a fragile figure. You can handle scrutiny. I can handle scrutiny, he replied, not assumptions. Before Sunny could respond, a producer rushed over, whispering urgently, Guys, we're live again in 20 seconds. You must cool this down. Network's already blowing up my phone. No one moved. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The lights intensified. The tension sharpened into something palpable. 5, 4. Leo exhaled slowly. 3, 2, 1. The cameras activated. The music faded. Whoopi put on her practiced smile. Welcome back to The View. We're continuing our conversation with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo shifted slightly in his chair. Sunny tightened her lips, then forced a neutral expression, but the air between them buzzed like static. Whoopi tried steering the conversation to the film again, tossing Leo a simple question about his preparation. Leo answered, composed but clipped. He wasn't fully back. He was bracing himself. Then Sunny spoke. Leonardo, earlier we were discussing consistency in public messaging. I'd like to revisit that with clarity. A murmur rippled through the audience. Sarah stared at Sunny like she couldn't believe she was going there again. Leo turned his attention toward her, his voice calm, but carrying an unmistakable warning. Sunny, we can have this conversation, but if you're going to question my authenticity, then let's talk about everyone's authenticity, including the show's. The audience reacted instantly. Gasps, whispers, shifting bodies leaning forward. Sunny tensed. Are you implying something? Leo leaned in. I'm implying that it's easy to point fingers at celebrities while ignoring the fact that this industry thrives on contradictions. The studio froze. Sunny opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Joy whispered, not quietly enough. Oh, hell. Leo continued, voice firm, controlled, but unmistakably heated. This show critiques private jets, yet half the people who lecture about carbon footprints take SUVs home every night. You want to talk authenticity? Let's talk about the system we're all part of, not just me. Sunny blinked, caught off guard. The audience erupted, clapping, shouting, reacting so loudly. The audio tech scrambled to balance levels. Whoopi put her hand up. Okay, let's settle. Leo, Sunny, let's bring this down a notch. But neither of them moved. Sunny inhaled sharply. Leonardo, with respect, we are not the ones promoting ourselves as the face of climate urgency. Neither did I, Leo shot back. The media did. You all did. I use my platform. I never claimed sainthood. A long beat. Then Sunny leaned closer, elbows on the table. If you feel misrepresented, this is your chance. Explain it. Leo didn't back away. Fine. Let's talk honesty. The room tightened like a drum. I've dedicated years to conservation, funding research, restoring ecosystems, protecting wildlife. And yes, I live a lifestyle that isn't perfect, but I put real work, real money, real time into what I believe in. Not because it's fashionable, because it matters. His voice rose slightly, cracking with sincerity. And if your takeaway from all that is you flew a jet once, then you're not listening. You're judging. The silence that followed was so complete it felt unnatural. Sunny swallowed. I wasn't judging. You were, he said softly. And that's okay, but at least own it. For a moment, Sunny didn't have a response. The audience watched, spellbound, unsure which direction the moment would go. A heavy pause stretched out, like the entire studio held its breath. Then Sunny exhaled quietly. Leonardo, I didn't intend to undermine your work. I intended to ask something that viewers question. Leo's stare softened just slightly, but only slightly. I can respect that, he said, but there's a difference between asking and accusing. Sunny nodded once, an unspoken acknowledgement. Whoopi jumped in, sensing the brief opening. Okay, good. Let's move forward. But the moment wasn't done, because Sunny wasn't completely satisfied. She leaned forward again. In that case, can we talk about transparency? Because I think people want to understand how you reconcile your influence with your choices. Leo stared at her. Long, quiet, calculating. Transparency, he repeated. Sunny nodded. Leo placed his hands together, elbows on the table, leaning into the mic. If we're going to talk transparency, then I expect the same from everyone sitting here. A jolt went through the panel. Sunny stiffened. Are you suggesting? I'm suggesting, Leo said carefully, that we don't hold individuals to standards that we don't uphold ourselves. And if this show wants to have an honest conversation, then let's all be honest. Joy groaned. Oh no, not again. Sarah whispered, please don't do this. But Leo and Sunny were locked in, two forces pushing against each other with increasing intensity. Sunny's voice lowered. I'm not the one under discussion, Leo answered immediately. That's the problem. The audience erupted again, some cheering, some stunned, some shaking their heads in disbelief. The producer behind camera 3 waved frantically, mouthing, cut it out, cut it out. But live TV has no breaks. Sunny placed her hands flat against the table, gathering her composure. When she spoke again, her voice was calm but lined with steel. Leonardo, if your concern is fairness, then let's reframe this. What message do you want people to take away? Your work matters. No one denies that. But accountability matters too. Leo's glare softened into something deeper. Not anger, but a wounded honesty. I agree, he said. Accountability matters, and I hold myself to it. But accountability is not the same as being attacked for clicks. Sunny's eyes widened slightly. Is that what you think this is? Leo nodded. I've been on enough talk shows to know the difference between a tough question and a setup. The room trembled with silence. Sunny looked away for a moment, her jaw tightening. When she looked back, something in her expression had changed. Not anger, but something more human. Vulnerability slipping through the armor. I wasn't trying to set you up, she said quietly. Leo didn't respond at first. Then he spoke, softer than before. Then talk to me, not at me. The moment landed with weight, heavy, real, almost intimate in its rawness. Sunny's expression cracked, just a fraction. I can do that, Leo nodded slowly. Whoopi exhaled loudly, relieved. Thank God. But before she could redirect the segment, a voice from the audience suddenly shouted, Tell her, Leo! The entire studio swung toward the sound. A woman in the second row, visibly emotional, staring at Sunny. Security stepped forward immediately. Sunny's face flushed. Surprise, embarrassment, something else. Leo turned toward the audience member. It's okay, he said, raising a hand to security. Let her speak. Security hesitated, then stepped back. The woman stood, hands shaking. Sunny, why do you always push male guests harder? It feels unfair. A ripple of shock tore through the room. Sunny's eyes widened in disbelief. Ma'am, that's not true, Sunny said, voice shaking slightly. The woman shook her head. It feels like it. Today especially. Sunny froze. Leo watched her carefully. He hadn't expected this either. Whoopi tried to intervene. Okay, audience participation isn't... Sunny cut her off softly. No, let her finish. The woman swallowed. I watch this show every day. I respect you. But sometimes your tone, it comes across harsh. Not just to Leo, to other men too. Sunny blinked rapidly, processing, blindsided. Leo's posture shifted, a subtle softening. The studio had turned into a confessional, a reckoning, a live unraveling. Sunny stood slowly, breath shaky but controlled. I hear you, she said to the audience member. I really do, and I'll reflect on it. There was no defensiveness, no fire, just honesty. Leo watched her closely. surprised, maybe even impressed. Sunny sat back down, adjusting her microphone with trembling hands. "Thank you for saying that," she added softly. The woman nodded and sat. The studio was silent again. But the tone had changed. Less combative, more human, more fragile. Like the storm had passed, leaving clarity in its wake. Leo leaned in gently towards Sunny, voice calm. "See? Conversation, not combat." Sunny nodded, eyes glistening. "You're right." The tension didn't vanish, but it melted into something new. Respect, uneasy, messy, but real. The producer signaled another commercial break. Lights dimmed, cameras powered down. Nobody moved. Sunny exhaled, her first real breath in minutes. Leo turned to her. "We good?" Sunny hesitated, then nodded. "We're getting there." Leo extended a hand. Sunny stared at it, then took it. The audience applauded even though the show was off air. But as the break continued, neither of them knew that the real storm hadn't even hit yet.